Okay guys, it's Ted from CycleTune. We're going to go over a video that I had a long time ago. The clutch release. This is the ball bearing clutch release of a 75 or 76 Triple. The seal on the earlier models, I think they had 3 variations of this. What ends up happening, the actuator is actually deeper than the shitty one that they made originally, and it ends up, if you have the wrong seal, it ends up bumping into the seal or the earlier one like this and cutting the lip. So what I had done, if you have a machine that's not been updated, you could take this retaining ring off and then grind this down to just a little beyond the circlip groove. It's only there as an installation. It's an aid when they make it, so when they throw it in the box it doesn't fall apart. But once it's in the bike, you know it can't go any more than this and this. So it's not going to come apart once it's in the bike. It's just there when they make it, they throw it in a box, it doesn't fall apart. So what you would do is I pack this with grease, and then I take the clip off and grind this down to just past the circlip. And that'll give you about the same length as the crappy one when it's at full tilt. Now, just wanted to show you, this is the original seal. Like I said, the first one I believe looked like this with the lip on the outside. And then they put the lip on the inside to move it in further to the slug here. And unfortunately, this is the one they give you with the seal kit. Why, I don't know. The 070 is the H2C and I guess the KH500. Now you can see that this was the original seal. This is the oil side. And what they did is they inverted this and then put the lip all the way down inside here where it fits into the slug like that. So that gives it the most room of anything that they could do without re-engineering this. And so if you have a machine that's not updated, what you do is you could just grind this down, and like I say, pack it with grease so the grit doesn't get in there, and when you're done, just wipe it off. And then you could retrofit, if you want to use this with an earlier machine that hasn't been updated with the seal. This one, I don't have to do it because it's apart, and I'm going to use the 070 seal. Now, Lisa was on Facebook last week, and we had a little discussion. She had talked to somebody about using red Loctite on the bearings. Now, she had mentioned to the man that we don't want to use too much. But you got to remember, with something that's a very tight fit, how much room is there really when you tighten something down? So these saddles and these bearings are made for a good squeeze, a good press fit when they were new. But remember, we're dealing with something that's 50, 60 years old. There's nothing flat anymore. There's nothing straight anymore. And Joe Fateh-Boo and his brothers and kids worked on it. So who knows what the hell happens. So I like to put a little red Loctite. So if you can see, Lee, can you get in here and just...
Sure.
You see how little that red is on there? That's about all I use. Because when you squeeze this down, what's left? But the man that told Lisa, don't use the red Loctite because it hardens too fast. Well, Loctite is an aerodynamic compound. It hardens in the absence of air and attaches to metal. This has been here for about 4 or 5 hours. Does that look hard to you? Now, if I had Loctite in my head, it would never harden. Okay, did you get that? Nipper Stevens, are you going for another shot after that one, Nipper? Okay, so Loctite hardens in the absence of air, so you can put just that little amount on your bearings and then put your Cowie bond on the bottom case and then put it together. And really, how long is it going to take you to tighten up these bolts? 3, 5 minutes? So that's about all. Lee, get in there one more time. That's about all that you need to put on a bearing. What happens, I think, is a lot of these cranks, they're not Charlie Smith specials. When they were built, they did the cha-cha in there. And I was always told that some of the GS Suzukis, if you turned the crank, the cases would go up and down. That's how bad. So sometimes over the years, the bearings, I guess, would wobble and actually beat up the bottom case a little bit, the saddle. So that's the only reason we put a little red on here, just in case we have any wear or anything like that. We get a little clamping force after everything's all buttoned up. Like I say, these things, they had a hard life. People want to know, Teddy, why don't you sell a motor so somebody can use it? It took me 3 damn motors to get this one together. One has a peened shaft over here because the sprocket fell off. The other one, the bearing is shot. The other one, the guy missed the center pin. Please, when you put these together, Make sure all your center pins, these little pins, are in your little bearing gizmos here, okay? This case should go down with just a hand bang, almost flush. And the guy, the last block I had, he must have missed twice because they drilled here to go push this pin back, and the block is cracked. And it's just, you know what I mean. These bikes had a hard life. So when you put your case down after it's all gooped up, it should go almost perfectly flush just by hand. So please make sure you check all your locating rings and locating pins to make sure that she goes down nice. And then take your time, torque all of these. I had a little boo-boo the other day. This nut here, there's no torque spec in the book for this nut. If you follow the torque table, they want like $1.50 because it's a 20 millimeter. But there is a bulletin. If any of you remember, the earlier nut had a very small hex on it, and it didn't have the clamping force. So they came out with I think it's a 29 or whatever millimeter outside to give better clamping force, because if this loosens up, some of these bikes would have a knock to them. So a lot of these torque things are found in a service bulletin after they knew they screwed up. The torque on this one is 85. That's a service bulletin. And here I'm going to pull it to 150. So I'm glad I double checked and did that. This guy here, well, they tell you tighten it till it's secure. No torque spec on the shaft. Counter shaft sprocket. The little O-ringy, it's wrong in the parts book, and it's wrong in the service manual. The O-ring, that tiny little baby O-ring, goes between the bearing here and the sleeve. And then the big seal goes on, and then your sprocket and your lock and your nut. They show it somewhere over here, and you know that's wrong because a lot of these collars are all rusted underneath. So you know there was never any oil under there. You want to stop the oil right at the bearing. And that's why the little seal's there, and it fits in a little chamfer of the sleeve for the output seal. Okay, guys? So that's it. That's a quickie for today. And, well, we'll see you next time. That oil pump video is coming now. It's coming. Because I got to do a pump for this. Till tomorrow, guys. See ya.